There's one spot in my yard that fought me for years, under a group of mature trees. Deep shade, dry soil packed with roots, almost no direct sun reaching the ground. For the longest time, exactly one plant would grow there: hostas. Because that's the default. Someone has a dark corner. Someone says just plant hostas, and that's the end of the conversation. And to be fair, they're not wrong to love them. But hostas are one answer. Not the only one. There's a whole group of perennials that don't just survive in shade, they do things hostas can't. Foliage that glows gold. Flowers in the dead of winter. Silver leaves that light up a dark bed like a mirror. Today, 9 of them. In order, starting with the one that does something almost nothing else in deep shade can do. Plant 1, Sun King Aurelia. It glows. That's not a figure of speech. Sun King Aurelia puts out brilliant chartreuse gold foliage, and while most brightly colored plants wash out the second you put them in shade, this one gets brighter. In a dim corner, it works like a spotlight. The one thing to watch: strong afternoon sun will scorch that gold color, so give it filtered light or shade. That's where it actually performs best. It settles in around 3 feet tall and 3 feet wide. Herbaceous, so it dies back completely over winter and comes back from the ground fresh every spring, hardy in zones 3 through 9, which covers most of the country. If you've got a corner that feels impossible to brighten, this might be the one plant that actually does it. Quick one. Drop a comment. Have you grown Sun King Aurelia before? Or is this the first time you're hearing about it? Gold foliage is one way to light up shade. Plant 2 does it with silver instead. Plant 2. Japanese painted fern. This fern looks like it was painted, not grown. Silver, burgundy, soft blue-green fronds, and that silvery surface does real work. It catches whatever light makes it into a shady bed and reflects it back. The same trick a silver hosta pulls off. It stays compact, too. Most varieties run 12 to 18 inches tall, about 18 inches wide, so it tucks into spots a bigger fern would overwhelm. Give it moist, well-drained soil, partial to full shade, and once it's established, it handles cold with no complaints. Here's my favorite part, and it happens every single spring. New fronds push up out of the ground tightly coiled into spirals, then slowly uncurl as the weather warms. Watch it happen in real time, and you'll understand why gardeners get obsessed with ferns. Silverlight is one move. Plant 3 trades foliage for height. Tall, feathery color that hangs over the bed like it's floating. Plant 3, astilbe. Astilbe takes a flat, dark bed and gives it something almost nothing else in shade can. Real vertical movement. Feathery plumes rise up above the foliage in white, pink, purple, deep red, swaying like they weigh nothing at all. And even when it's not in bloom, the finely cut foliage still carries the bed on texture alone. Bridal veil throws clean white plumes that practically glow in shade. Fennel goes the other direction. Deep red, striking against dark surroundings. Depending on variety, you're looking at 18 inches to 3 feet tall, about 2 feet wide. One real requirement here: rich soil, consistently moist, never waterlogged. This is not the plant for a dry patch under thirsty tree roots. That's a different plant. Coming up in a minute, and one tip that actually moves the needle: feed it a balanced, slow-release fertilizer in late winter or early spring, before the new growth and flower buds take off. Moisture and feeding are the entire difference between a decent astilbe and a spectacular one. Plant 4, Solomon's Seal. If astilbe is drama, Solomon's Seal is quiet elegance. The plant that makes a shade garden look like it belongs in a storybook. Easy going. Partial to full shade, protected from harsh sun. It wants soil that's moderately moist, well-drained, rich in organic matter, slightly acidic to neutral. Nothing exotic, just consistent. The stems arch outward on their own, and small bell-shaped flowers hang beneath them in neat, even rows. The variegated forms take it even further. Green leaves edged in creamy white. Some with reddish stems that make the whole plant look almost hand-illustrated. Planted in groups under trees and shrubs, alongside ferns and coral bells. And it forms a soft, natural ground cover. It looks fragile. It isn't. Once it's settled in, it's surprisingly tough. Solomon's Seal is quiet. Plant 5 is the opposite. This one wants you to notice it. Plant 5, Bugbane. If you want a little mystery in your shade garden, this is it. The dark-leaved varieties of black cohosh, also called bugbane, produce foliage so deep purple it reads almost black. Then tall, slender flower spikes rise straight up out of it, covered in small, creamy white blooms. Against that dark foliage, they look like candles lit in the shadows. Depending on your climate and the variety, expect blooms starting midsummer, sometimes running into early fall. It wants moist, rich soil and partial shade. Beautiful under tall, deciduous trees with filtered light. Or near evergreens as long as the soil doesn't dry out. Two things to avoid. Too much hot direct sun stresses it out, and it truly hates dry, compacted soil. And pick its spot carefully the first time. Black cohosh builds a serious root system and does not want to be moved once it's in. One more thing when you're buying it, skip the tallest plant in the pot. Look for strong roots and several active shoots instead. That matters far more than height off the shelf. Grouped together, a few plants of black cohosh make a genuinely dramatic statement. Single specimen works too, but the group is worth the extra plants. Plant 6. Roseanne cranesbill, 5 months of flowers. Not 3 weeks. Not one quick flush in May that's done before summer starts. 5 months. Geranium. Roseanne has the reputation it has for a reason. It's genuinely easy. It performs in partial shade, and it's still blooming when the rest of the bed has started to look tired. Blue-violet flowers with pale centers on a broad, flowing mound that reaches 18 to 24 inches tall and spreads even wider than that. It grows dense enough to shade out the soil underneath, which means weeds simply don't get the opening they need. This is a forgiving plant. Sun or partial shade. Short dry spells once established. Soil that doesn't need to be perfect. It flowers hardest with at least some direct light, so partial shade suits it better than deep shade. But wherever it fits, it's one of the most dependable long bloomers you can plant. If you're newer to gardening and want a plant that'll make you look like you know what you're doing, start here. Plant 7. Large flowered comfrey. Nobody talks about this one. That's the mistake. Large flowered comfrey handles the spots where hostas start to give up. Dry ground under established trees, north-facing walls, heavy root-choked soil that's hard to improve no matter what you do to it. Broad, coarse leaves form dense, low colonies that cover bare soil and choke out weeds on their own. Spring brings clusters of small bell-shaped flowers. Cream, pale yellow, or blue depending on the variety. Its biggest strength, once it's in, it needs almost nothing from you. That same toughness is the warning label. Comfrey spreads steadily and in some cases aggressively enough that it's genuinely hard to remove later. Plant it somewhere you actually want a tough, permanent ground cover, not next to something delicate you'd hate to lose. Plant 8. Siberian bug loss. Brunera brings silver into the shade, a different kind of silver than the painted fern, and worth the difference. In spring, it throws up clouds of tiny blue flowers that could pass for forget-me-nots, but the real show is underneath. Large, heart-shaped leaves marked with intricate silver patterning. In partial or full shade, that foliage acts almost like a reflector, catching what little light is available and pushing it back out into the bed. Jack Frost is the variety most American gardeners already know. The leaves run almost entirely silver, with just narrow green veins threading through, like the plant got permanently coated in early morning frost. In deep shade, it genuinely looks like it's glowing from within. Brunera is hardy, dependable, built for cold winter climates. Rich, well-drained soil, consistent moisture, especially if you're somewhere warmer. Year after year, it's one of the most reliable foliage plants you can put in shade. 8 plants of gold, silver, height, and structure. The last one breaks every rule on this list. It blooms in winter. Plant 9. Hellebor's bloom, when everything else hasn't even considered waking up. Late winter, early spring, depending on your climate, while the rest of the yard is still bare and dormant. The soil's cold. The trees are still stripped down. There might be snow on the ground, and the hellebores are blooming anyway, sometimes pushing straight up through it. White, pink, purple, green, nearly black. The color range alone makes them worth growing. And the thick, leathery foliage is often evergreen or semi-evergreen, so you get a bold architectural presence in the bed long after the flowers are gone. They're among the toughest plants on this entire list. Deep root systems once established mean they can ride out dry stretches, though young plants still need regular water while they settle in. Very low maintenance, and they can live for decades without ever needing to be divided. Partial shade suits them, but they'll take deeper shade too, especially under deciduous trees. where they still catch extra light in winter and early spring before the leaves come back. That makes them exactly the plant for the corner nothing else will flower in. 9 plants. Not one of them a hosta. Shade gardens have a lot more range than most people ever discover. Too many of us stop at one familiar plant and assume that's the whole menu. It's not. Tell me in the comments which one you're most excited to try and what you're actually working with. Dry soil, moist soil, deep shade, or partial shade? Your answers decide what I plant on camera next. See you in the next one.